What's going on, guys? It's Chris Holacek with another session of Holla Sessions. And today's topic is lessons from Brazil. So, obviously I'm not in Brazil right now. I'm in Western Tennessee in Natchez Trace State Park. And yeah, the reason why I'm not filming in Brazil is wasn't the safest place to be holding out a phone. And I'll get to that in a little bit, but anyways, the lessons I learned there were, one, stepping off that plane and only knowing a little bit of Portuguese, despite studying for a year. That was a pretty intense experience. Once I got there, everybody's talking so fast. I'm like, whoa, like I tried communicating and it just didn't quite work. And good majority of that trip, yeah, I'm just talking with people who don't speak my language at all. Like 95% of the country does not know English. And it's a crazy feeling. It can feel isolating. It did a good amount of the time. I did feel very isolated and alone. But luckily, yeah, as I said in my last video, I had people I was meeting up with, like my YouTuber buddy, Swedish Gringo. We hung out for a day and he showed me the ropes. He gave me the safety skills and even gave me this nice little pouch with a cord on it for my phone to keep that from getting stolen, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, thanks again to Swedish Gringo for looking out for me. Yeah, he's just showing me how to interact with this Portuguese or with the Brazilian people, and even talking to the girls too, like just the different ways, you know, of approaching everyone. And it's really not that different from America, really, except a different language. You know, you want to talk to people, you got to go up and talk to them. You can't expect them to come up to you. Although people were definitely fascinated. You know, I tried my best to blend in. You know, I bought like Adidas sneakers. Yeah, just tried to look almost like a European in a way. But, or just like somebody not from America, but they could smell it from a mile away. Which, you know, you got to embrace where you're from. You know, I'll never be ashamed of that, but more so for safety purposes, I did that. So I wouldn't be targeted by any thieves. But yeah, they know when you're a Westerner. So that's why I wanted to get to the safety. That was pretty intense, like just seeing, we had these vendors who'd come up to you when you're sitting on the beach or at a restaurant trying to sell you, a lot of them would sell you Mentos. And that was supposedly a symbolism of the favelas, which is the hood in Rio. And just seeing the desperation in their eyes, I felt sorry for them. But you know, you start giving one person some money, they all start coming out for you. So you have to, you know, you got to stand your ground and say no, unless you sense somebody really needs help, which, you know, sucks because a lot of the vendors approaching me were children. But you got to realize sometimes they're not just begging for food. It's also like an organized scam they're doing. And, you know, there are situations where you have one vendor come up trying to talk to you and then another vendor will come up behind you trying to go through your things. And luckily I had spidey senses. I prevented that from happening. You know, as I'm talking to you on my same phone as I had before, thank God. But it opened up my mind to how great we have it here in America. You know, like even the poor here, you know, are still able to access food from the store. It could be, you know, some Lay's potato chips or ramens. Like, you still have access to some kind of food, whereas there, they literally had nothing. It's crazy. And yeah, this makes you thankful to be, you know, here in America. Yeah, and despite all my safety, like putting my phone in that little pouch that was like on my belt, or inside my belt, I should say, inside my pants. Yeah, I still fell for a couple scams. One was, you know, this guy, he was asking for diapers and baby milk formula, which I looked it up later on, and that's one of the most infamous scams they do. But he, you know, I thought like he legitimately needed help. Like he was using Google Translate, try to get the me and stuff, and I may have had a few drinks at that point, so I fell for it. And I should have known something was up when him and his friend were starting to like grab all the items from the shelf for me to pay for. I'm like, whoa, 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 like, no, like, I'll get you a couple, that's it. And, you know, I took some of it off and stuff. I gave him what I felt he needed. And, but it wasn't until after that, something felt weird in my gut. And, yeah, I realized I'd been scammed. But it wasn't like a life-changing amount of money he got, you know. It was, but still enough to kind of feel a little violated. And then the second scam actually happened the next day. I went to go see the Christ the Redeemer statue, which is amazing. I highly recommend it, but again, be safe getting up there. You know, Uber does go up to like the visitor center. And yeah, I had booked an Uber to go there. It was the regular Uber X, which for future reference, get like the Uber Comfort or Uber Black, because yeah, it's really cheap to get Uber in Brazil, and getting the more expensive one goes a long way safety wise. Yeah, the driver, he started like speaking to me like fast Portuguese, and I'm like, no fala Portuguese, eu falo English. You know, I don't speak Portuguese, I speak English. And he just kept talking. I'm like, dude, I don't understand you. And no entende. I eventually held my phone up to him to have him talk. He's like, oh, you're gonna need to go to the train to get up there. I'm like, no. I said, go up to the visitor center. And he's like, oh, train or shuttle. I'm like, no. But he ended up dropping me off there anyways, and it was a very rough neighborhood. And he led me right to the scammers who operated a shuttle service. You know, it was a legit shuttle service, but it was like way overpriced for what you would have gotten if you just took an Uber up, and way less, you know, it was way more sketchy. Like, you know, in the neighborhood, it just felt weird. And I found out later, like, it was like some kind of mafia running that. So once I got up there, you know, I went to go see the statue, and that was a very powerful experience seeing that. But when I went back down to go back, they had a bunch of people waiting in line. I would have had to wait for like an hour just to get back down, whereas the Uber would have been way cheaper. So, and then I even had taxis, like guys were like singling me out, like I was the most gringo looking guy there. So they were singling me out, like the, you know, taxi, like aggressively, like coming right up to me. I'm like, no, like, get away from me. And eventually or you just say no obrigado, which means no thank you. And they get away from me then. Or eventually will give up after you say that about 5 times. But at that point, I didn't feel safe going back down with them. So I decided to go, yeah, just get an Uber, you know, cut my loss, and that was a good decision. The guy originally didn't start the ride till we got halfway down the hill. I thought it was a little weird. I'm like, uh-oh, am I getting scammed again? But luckily he was cool and took care of that situation and got me away from all those, yeah, super aggressive people trying to give me rides. Yeah, and for no matter where you are, if somebody's really trying to pressure you into something, 10 times out of 10, it's not a good deal. Don't do it. Don't rush into any deal that's, you know, try and make a quick decision. So I need to learn a little more Portuguese next time I go. And also, you know, Rio's, it's a fun town, but again, I'm gonna wait a little bit before I go back. I will get back to Brazil, just the other parts like Sao Paulo, the southern Brazil, the Midwestern areas. That's more the cowboy culture. Yeah, I didn't get to meet any of my fans. Most of them were not there. So, you know, it was a learning experience. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go. But now I know that I'll go to different areas next time. They're a little safer and have more fans, and even may have some potential gigs lined up next time I go. Thanks to some awesome fans and followers. So I'm gonna put that in the books later on down the road. But yeah, overall though, I mean, those are just some of the worst moments. Overall, there's a lot of great times. They have this drink called a Capahina. It's a little too good. It goes down smooth, and next thing you know, you've had like 10 of them. And I don't know, it's there, the culture is very big on partying. So yeah, everybody's got like 2 drinks in their hands and walking around. You can walk around everywhere with a drink, and I kind of fell into that trap, and you know, my body after a few days was like, you need to chill out. And by that last day when I was at the airport, I practically slept the whole time. It was fun for a couple days, but it was too much. But I mean, the people I did connect with, yeah, there are people that spoke English, and they're pretty awesome, as well as all the other foreigners that were there for Carnival. That was, I had a great time with them, made so many new friends there. So yeah, it was fun, and you know, everybody's just there to have a good time and celebrate. The Brazilian people, they're all like singing in the streets, having fun. It's very lively people, and it was such an eye-opening experience being there. And that, you know, taught me, you know, not just about myself, but about Americans. You know, sometimes we need to lighten up a little bit. You know, we're so caught up in our daily task, and we forget to have fun sometimes. And that's what that taught me, interacting with all those people. Yeah, especially the block parties they had later on in the night. That was just wild. Yeah, Carnival, it was so many people. Well, too many people. Like, yeah, like I still feeling, you know, need to recharge. That's why I'm walking the woods now, and just being away from people for a little bit to recover from that. As an introvert, that was intense, but you know, I would totally do it again if I had a choice. Just gotta study Portuguese a little better. But yeah, that leads back to my last video about scaring yourself. Do something scary. That was definitely worth it. You know, Brazil, it didn't turn out the way I expected it to. Like I was expecting, despite not knowing Portuguese, being able to connect with more people, which, you know, I still connected with many of them, but I felt like the ones who didn't know English were a little more standoffish. Just maybe, you know, you think about it, it's like here in America, you meet somebody who doesn't speak the language, you're gonna feel a little weird. Like you don't know their intentions, you know, not necessarily if they're a bad person or not, you just don't know. And I think that's what it was there. Despite all that though, I feel like, yeah, I need to go back again. Just, I might wait a little later to go back to Rio and go out to the countryside where my fans are. But overall, I'm just thankful to be back here in America. I'm thankful to be back around other English speakers. It's definitely, yeah, makes me appreciate that in a whole different level, being able to communicate with people here. Whereas I know at times maybe I feel a little animosity just because of the economy or whatever. I don't take that for granted anymore. I'm very happy to be here, to be an American. But I do love to go to these different places and see the different cultures. Anyways, that's the gist of the story. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me get the message across to more and more people. Anybody who needs to hear this kind of stuff. I know my videos are not always the same subject or sometimes sporadic, but you know, there's got to be at least one person that needs to hear what I got to say. So with that being said, show gratitude every day and be thankful for what you got and know that it could be worse. Anyways, my name is Chris Holacek, and this is another session of Holla Sessions. Until next time, Holla is hollin' out.